Hey everybody, my name is Analise and this is my first ever YouTube video. I'm so excited to be filming this today. I've been wanting to do this for some time, but I was feeling pretty nervous about filming and all of that. So finally I decided to just rip off the band-aid, so here we are. So let's just jump right into it. Today I'm going to show some of my current houseplant favorites for this month, May 2021. My favorites do kind of constantly change depending on what a plant is doing, so this is not a permanent list, but these are my current favorites. Just a little bit of background on me as well. I've been collecting houseplants for a little bit over a year. I think like many people, I got into houseplants at the start of the pandemic because I needed a hobby, I needed something to fill my time, and plants did that. So I've been gradually growing my collection over that time, but I'm obviously no expert. I still have so much to learn, which is what's so exciting about the plant hobby. So if you have any comments, feedback, thoughts, please leave them down below. I'd love to read them and hear what you have to say. So beyond that, let's just jump into it. I think I'm gonna start with philodendron. I'm trying to keep plants from different genuses in this video to keep it interesting, and I wanted to do a good mix of more rare plants and more common plants. So first, for my rarer philodendron, is this Philodendron Plaumanii. So when I got this plant, this was one of the original leaves that came with the plant. I thought it was pretty. I wasn't super into it, wasn't obsessed, thought it was a decent plant, but then it put out this beautiful leaf in my care, and that's when I truly became obsessed with the plant. I mean, look at the veining on the back. You really cannot beat that. And then beyond that, it started to put out this new leaf here, if you can see. It looks like it's gonna be a really big one, so I'm really excited to watch that unfurl. If you wanna see little updates on things like this, definitely give me a follow on Instagram. I'll be posting smaller updates on my story from time to time, so definitely check that out. Another thing I do love about this plant is how easy care it is. I have it currently in terracotta, and I just water it when it's dry, and it seems to do really well with that. So definitely a great, great plant. Next up, for a more common philodendron that is just absolutely gorgeous, is the Philodendron Brazil. I actually have numerous of these scattered around my house because I love them so much. But this is the one I picked for today to show you, just because some of the leaves have the most gorgeous variegation on it. If we call it variegation, I guess it's kind of more coloring, but look at that. Every leaf is so different, which is what I love about it. It's like a little surprise anytime a leaf unfurls. You don't know what you're gonna get. Some leaves are lighter in color, some are darker, some have a little stripe, some have a ton of different patchiness. So definitely a great houseplant. They also look beautiful when they're trailing in a full pot. Hopefully that's what this will become one day. And they're also super easy care. They'll kind of wilt a little bit when they're thirsty, so I just wait until it's dry and then I'll give it a good soak through. So next up, let's hop into Monstera. I do love Monstera and have a few of them, but my favorite currently, I think, is a lot of people's favorite or on a lot of people's wish list, and that is the Monstera Albo. So the Albo variegated Monstera. So I actually have two of them, but this is my first one that I got for actually a really good price from a seller on Etsy. And I was so excited to bring this plant home. This was one of my first rarer plants, so I was definitely very nervous about it. Sadly, the first two leaves it put out were completely green, so I was a little bit disappointed. I was really hoping to see some of that variegation. So I decided to cut the leaves off, which was a little bit emotional for me. I still have them rooting in water, but it just this past week put out this new baby leaf, but we can see there's white variegation on it. I'm so excited, so happy. It's not reverted. You can see there is great variegation on the stem, so I have hope that it will continue to throw out variegated leaves beyond this one. My other Alba Monstera is definitely what you see more traditionally. It is, I don't want to say more beautiful, I don't want to play favorites, but it does have these beautiful midrib fenestrations and two really beautiful leaves. What drew me to this one, actually, this specific plant, was how bright colored and how light green the leaves were. I hadn't really seen a lot of Monsteras like that. Most of them have darker green leaves like the other one I showed you. So this one really spoke to me and I just had to do it. Right now it's rooting in sphagnum. It's doing pretty well. Here you can see some root action there. So I think I'm gonna leave it in here until it really roots up really well, and then I'll move it to either leca or soil. Okay, and then for a common Monstera variety, this is a Monstera that a lot of people have, but I think it's a common plant for a reason. This is just a regular Monstera Deliciosa, just the regular green form. But these leaves are just so beautiful. And this is the It's one of my favorite plants, obviously it's in this video, but it just continues to put out new growth constantly. If you give it a decent amount of light, it will just keep throwing out leaves for you. And eventually, of course, they will become fenestrated. And I can't wait for that day to happen with this baby. I got this baby with just leaves about this size starting out, so it's really done so well for me. And it's super easy care, just water when dry, and that's pretty much it. So definitely a recommended houseplant, especially for beginners. They're really easy to take care of, really easy to propagate, and all of that, and they look beautiful. What more do you want? Okay, moving along, we're gonna move into Hoya. So I've gotten into Hoya kind of recently. I know there's a little bit of a Hoya craze going around, but this was one of my first Hoya I got, which I think is a pretty common Hoya that a lot of people do have and love. This is a Hoya Crimson Queen. I absolutely love this plant. I mean, look at this leaf. The coloring on these leaves are so beautiful, and it throws out new growth all the time. So this is a newer leaf here, and you can see it kind of came in with a pink tinge, which is why it's called a Crimson Queen, for that pink color that it has. But I just love this plant. It really grows so well. It can be a beautiful trailing basket. As you can see, it's already trailing in here. And it's super vocal plant, which I love. When you squeeze the leaves, if they're very pliable and soft to the touch, that means that the plant needs water. But if you squeeze them like right now, they're not super duper bendy, that means it's not thirsty. So definitely a good plant for beginners, just to get to know your plants and how to feel them and what to feel for. So I would recommend this plant, especially because it's easy to get. My next favorite Hoya actually came to me very recently, within the past week, but I just cannot stop looking at it. It is a Hoya Finlaysonii. Let me just give you a close-up of these leaves. Absolutely a beautiful plant. The leaves are just this beautiful light green color, and the dark veining, I'm obsessed. As you can see, this is still just a little baby plant, but I'm hopeful that it'll grow into a big plant one day. But it's been doing really well so far. I just have it in a super chunky soil mix, and I'm waiting till the leaves are squishy to water it. So we'll keep an eye on this. Definitely will show some updates in the future, hopefully when it puts out new leaves. The next genus is Alocasia. Now, I don't have tons of Alocasia, but I am kind of getting more and more into them. So I'm gonna show two different Alocasia I have. This is a black velvet Alocasia. It's definitely a more common variety, but I think that's what makes it so special to me. I think it is just so beautiful, and I think every single person should have this in their home, especially for a beginner Alocasia. First, the leaves actually feel so velvety. I literally stroke them all the time. And then they're just so beautiful. Plus, the backs have this beautiful red color. So you kind of get a 2-for-1 deal with the front and back of the leaf. So definitely would recommend. This guy's just in sphagnum for now. You can see there's a ton of root growth around here. So I'll probably pot him into soil or something soon. For a slightly rarer Alocasia that I'm loving, this Alocasia, I actually have to give credit to my boyfriend because it's his, not mine, but I do primarily take care of it, is an Alocasia Silver Dragon. So this is the little baby leaf that it came with when we got it. And then its first leaf it put out was significantly larger, was this leaf. And right now it's putting out this really beautiful big leaf. And as you can see, this leaf is a lighter color, so it hasn't hardened off. So I think it's still gonna keep growing even more. But this is just a plant I absolutely love. We have it in Leca, and it's been actually really loving that. So maybe Alocasia love Leca, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. But definitely an Alocasia I would recommend if you're getting into them more and wanna try something a little bit more unique looking. And then my final plant, I don't actually know the genus of this plant, but it's something I've just been loving recently. Is ivy a genus? I don't know, maybe. Please let me know. And so this is a plant I actually got an impulse buy at Trader Joe's for about $5. And it is absolutely stunning in my opinion. The leaf coloring, I mean, you just can't beat it. Every single leaf is absolutely gorgeous, and it's been growing super well. I mean, you can see right there, those two leaves are new growth there. The care trip I realized for this one, after it did brown on me a little bit in the beginning, is that it likes to really stay wet. Now, this plant does get a decent amount of direct sun in the day. It's directly in the window, so it dries out more quickly than maybe other plants, but it loves to stay moist, and that's been doing really well for making it grow really big and beautiful. So those are all my favorite houseplants for the month of May. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, thanks for sticking around to the end. Please comment down below what else you want to see. Do you want to see a houseplant tour, tips on how I do Leca, tips on propagating, things like that? Definitely let me know. Other than that, always remember to get planty with it. Gosh, that was so corny. Ugh. Bye.